With Operation Deadly Omen being out for a week now, I think I've played enough so that I can give my opinion on which operators are good and which operators are just not doing that good in the current meta. Keep in mind this is just a personal opinion, so if you would change anything, if you would rank the operators differently, you can let me know in the comments. But I'm just making this video to possibly help out new players or returning players who don't really know the meta or who are not really aware of which operators are good or not. The operators will be in alphabetical order, as you can see, and they will be timestamped in the description, so you can jump to your favorite operator if you want to. So let's get on with the tier list. So first we have Ace. Ace is definitely S tier. Ace is one of the greatest operators in the game. He is probably the best hard breacher, kind of on level with Termite. He's got a great weapon. The AK-12 is probably the best rifle in the game. It's incredibly fast. It almost feels like an SMG, and it's just really really good. And every operator in the game now has an ACOG or attacker. Sorry. So basically, he even got better with the release of Deadly Omen, in my opinion, because he now has the access to the ACOG. Alibi is the next operator. Honestly, she's like C tier, B tier. I'd probably say C tier. I mean, she has good weapons. The ACS-12 is great. The Storm is great. She's 3 speed, but her ability is incredibly underwhelming, and you can only use it in certain situations, like placing it under windows or I don't know. It's not really that good, honestly. You can do better with other roamers, you know, rather than playing Alibi. Then we have Amaru. Amaru, honestly, she's great for some like cases, but I'd probably say C tier as well. Yeah, honestly, I mean she's not D tier because she has some use. She has a good weapon. The LMG also LMG's got buffed this season substantially, so definitely great weapon. But her gadget is just underwhelming, and she's only good when you're down 3-0 or something like that, and you want to get a quick round. That's what she's good for. Aruni, definitely S tier, honestly. She has two incredible weapons, the DMR and the Pipirone. Honestly, incredible weapons. She's 1 speed, so she's not a good roamer, but her gadget is really good. It has infinite charges if you shoot it after like 30 seconds. And it makes them waste flashes, smokes, drones if they want to enter the site or whatever wherever you put it up. So it's really good at gadget denial. Ash. Honestly, I don't know if Ash is A tier or S tier. I think probably S tier as well. Honestly, I don't want to put too many operators in S tier, but we're starting off with 3 operators at the start being in the S tier, so it can tell you a lot about how good these operators are. I mean, she has incredible weapons. She's 3 speed. She has a really, really good gadget. There really isn't much to explain. She's probably the best soft breacher in the game. Um, yeah, I don't know what else there's to explain. And the next operator, sadly, sadly for this tier list, is also going to S tier, Azami. Um, the thing is, she received a nerf, so now you can destroy her barriers with bullets, but it takes like 40 bullets from an AR to destroy it, and everybody plays ARs, and nobody's gonna start playing DMRs except maybe the 417 or Dokkaebi. Um, just because they can destroy Azami's quicker. Nobody's gonna start doing that. So she's still incredible. Like all of the Azamis that I showed you in the previous video are still working perfectly, and she's still an S tier operator. She still can transform a map like completely. So she's still S tier without a doubt. Bandit, great gadget, great weapon, 3 speed, but there's better choices. Honestly, like Kaid and Mute probably can be better. And I think that the days of bandit tricking, especially with like the 2 Barao nerfs, are, I mean, they might be slightly over, but I would say still A tier. Solid operator for sure to pick. Again, depends on which site. Depends on which site. On the certain sites, he's a must pick. On certain sites, if you pick him, you're throwing. So, yeah. Blackbeard, I hope everybody here knows, I'm actually gonna rename this F tier. Yeah, he's F tier. I hope everybody here knows and is not surprised by this. If you play Blackbeard, you should honestly just uninstall the game. Horrible operator. It doesn't do anything. Has the worst gun in the game. Please don't play him. If you play him, you're throwing. Blitz, because he actually got kind of a buff with the shield rework, but he's good, but he got his legs exposed. I don't know if that's a bug or if that's a feature, but I've seen this so many times on Reddit and on Twitter. Just people sending videos and clips of just seeing Blitz's feet, and you can absolutely see his feet now. So if you're playing a shotgun, especially, you can completely destroy Blitz unless he gets like really really close to you. That's why right now he's a F tier. He could be C tier or B tier if they fix the legs. I don't know if they will though, because I think it might be a feature. So right now he's F tier. He's horrible. Brava, honestly, she has the potential to be S tier, but right now she's C tier. Why? Even I don't care if you're playing in Champion or if you're playing in Copper. The TDM meta is still gonna be there slightly, right? Right now people are kind of holding angles, long angles, mostly with ACOGs, which is really depressing to see. That we went from the 1.5x TDM meta to the ACOG holding angles meta. It's not very good. But Brava, I mean, she needs time to work, right? And also, she needs gadgets to work. So if the enemies don't have Maestro, if they don't have Kapkan, if they don't have Lesion, if they don't have Aruni, she's not really gonna do much. She's gonna get the cameras. That's nice, but that's it. She's 3 speed. She has really good weapons. She has the Para, which is a really, really good weapon in my opinion. And that's about it. Honestly, she's incredibly mid. I think she will be better. Like she could be A tier or B tier if you're playing in Champion. But yeah, she just suffers from the current meta and such. Buck, yeah, I have to put him in S tier. I have to. I mean, he's incredible. His weapons are really good, or his weapon rather, the AR. And his ability, honestly, just one of the greatest. Yeah, maybe even a better soft erasure than Ash. To be fair, yeah, definitely. He's like the only operator which can completely destroy like a ceiling or like a, yeah. So he's really good for when there's like a when there's like a reinforce in second floor and you're playing in first floor. With Buck, you can destroy the bandits, you can destroy the kites. He's like the only operator that can do that, except like Ash or Zofia, and he does it best. He definitely does it best, and he has a shotgun still, which you can use on close range, which you can switch on and off, which is really good. And honestly, he's always been S tier, I think, especially with getting the ACOG back, which is really nice. Capitão. Now some of you might actually want to put him like B tier, C tier. I'm actually gonna put him A tier. He's one of the in my opinion, he's one of the most underrated operators in the game. He has 2 really good weapons. Right now, the LMGs, again, as I said, they got buffed. So the M249 is really, really good. It has almost no recoil. The Para is a really, really good weapon. I know it's underrated. So some of you might not rate it so highly, but the Para is a really good weapon. And then he has really good utility. He has 2 smokes, 2 Molotovs, which you can use for planting, and he has EMP grenades. He has hard breach charges. I mean, he has it all. If you don't even have to take Thatcher. You really don't have to take Thatcher when you have Capitão. You don't. So, one of the most underrated operators in the game for me. So, then we have Castle. Castle, he got the ACOG. He's got the ACOG now. He's got the super shorty to make rotates, which is really nice. And honestly, he can be very good. I would probably usually put him in C tier, but I think this season he's B tier or A tier. I think he's probably B tier. He's like the perfect B tier operator. He's good. He's great on some sides, but overall he's just good. He can be incredible on some sides. Like he can absolutely transform a side, but usually I would say Azami's better at doing that. That's why Azami's in S tier, he's in B tier, but he's really good though, and he's got a well, the UMP is not a great gun. It's an okay gun, but he's got an ACOG on it, which is nice. So, yeah, B tier, solid B tier. Caveira. Yeah, I don't think anybody's surprised. If you play Caveira, you're throwing, but it's a very fun operator to play and can win rounds. But if you're playing Caveira above Plat, you're throwing. So yeah, Clash, same thing. If you're playing Clash above I would say gold, you're throwing. Horrible operator, but can be incredibly annoying. These operators can be incredibly annoying to deal with. So, yeah. Deimos. So this is a new operator. He has the AK-74, which I think is one of the worst assault rifles in the game, personally. It has 41 bullets, which is really nice, but the recoil and the rate of fire just, I don't know, I just make me not want to use this weapon at all. And when I learned through like a leak that he was gonna have the AK-74, I just didn't want to, I just didn't want to like even buy the operator. But then I realized that this is not his primary. I mean, it technically is, but his primary is the Vendetta, the revolver, which is a really good gun. Especially good when you're like scanning with your ability through floors and ceilings. You can try and kill somebody through the floor with it, which is really nice. He's a 2-speed operator. He has frags. Frags got a nerf, but they're still good. I think that Jackal and Lion might actually do the job better than him. I think that he's good in very limited amounts of situations. That's why I think he's like a B tier. Again, just like Castle. I think that he's niche, you know? He can be good, but it has to be a very specific scenario where he's good. So that's why I'm putting him in B tier. Doc. Doc is an A tier. He got the ACOG back. I used to be a Doc abuser. I used to be a Doc spawn peeker with the ACOG. Now I can be the Doc spawn peeker again. But he's not S tier. He really isn't. He can heal, which is nice. His healing pistol got a huge buff from, you know, back in the, well, not this season, but from back in the day where he used to heal for 50. Now he heals for 110, I think, which is really nice. But Siege is a headshot game, right? It's a one-shot headshot game. I would say about like 30 to 50% of kills are headshots, so that's why he's not so useful, because a lot of the times you just instantly die instead of receiving some damage. But he's good for spawn peeking. He's got really good weapons. He's got the P90 with ACOG. He's got the MP5 with ACOG. So, yeah. Dokkaebi. Dokkaebi. I'm debating whether S tier or A tier. I think S tier. I said I didn't want to fill the S tier, especially that quickly, but I'm sorry. She's just so strong. This is why she's getting banned every single match. If you're above like plat, you know this. She's getting banned every single match. She's so good. Her weapons are really good. The SMG-12 can be incredibly strong, even though it has crazy recoil. And her gadget is just so annoying, and especially if you're roaming, man, her gadget is so annoying to deal with. And there's almost no counterplay except mute. But mute usually places his jammers on site, so if you're roaming, it doesn't really help you. That's why she's so strong. S tier. Echo recently got his ACOG removed, or his 1.5 rather, sorry. He didn't, his 1.5, he didn't get the ACOG. And his drones can be good, but again, this is, honestly, Echo, at lower rank, he can be like A tier. At like plat, he's like C tier, and then at higher ranks, he's again A tier. It's like a horseshoe. I don't know. I think I will place him probably B tier. He's, you know, he can do stuff. he can carry his weight, but it has to be very specific. You have to have a plan with him. If you don't have a plan with him, he's just not good. But he has a good weapon. He has good weapons. He has a good gadget. He has a shield. So yeah. Ella. There's just operators that do it better than Ella. What she does. Sadly. Sadly for her. Especially like Fenrir. I mean, Fenrir is the next operator. He's going to absolutely destroy her in the rankings. And even though they have almost the same gadget. They literally have almost the same gadget. But sadly, Fenrir is just much better. Again, Ella can stand her ground. So I'm going to say B tier. Right? And then Fenrir, just because he has a very similar gadget, S tier. It's a very similar gadget, but he does it better. He has better weapons. He has the MP7. The Scorpion is great, but the MP7 is much better. They're both 2-speed, if I'm not mistaken. But he just does it much better. He has 5 of them, and he can activate 3 at a time, just like Ella. And they are so much more annoying than Ella to deal with. So much more annoying. So, yeah. That's why he's an S tier. Finka. She got a buff slash nerf. Uh, her boost doesn't give you a reload speed anymore, but it clears the shield. What's it called? Suppressing fire. It clears the effect, which is fine. But I just wished she's the only healer on attack. I just wish that they removed the sound because whenever I'm like in like a 1v2 scenario and on site when I'm playing attackers and I get healed by Finka, which is really nice. Thank you for the heal, but I just get I just get deaf. Like I just lose hearing because the sound is so loud. The sound effect of it is so loud. That's why I think she's B tier. She's really good in like high rank because she can heal everyone at the same time, but I don't know. She has decent weapons. The spear is okay. The LMG got buffed again, so nice. But I hate the sound. I hate the sound. I have to put her in B tier. Flores. Now I always thought Flores was like F tier or C tier. That's why I didn't understand. That's because I didn't understand how he's supposed to be played. And some Flores players that I've recently like met, they basically like they were playing and they showed me how good he can be. I think he's A tier. His guns are good. He has the Thermite AR, which is nice. Sorry, not the Thermite, Thatcher AR, which is really nice. And his gadget especially can completely destroy like a bandit trigger and can destroy so much utility and can force people out of positions. Honestly, his only huge counter is mute. And yeah, his only huge counter is mute. But yeah, I think that he's much better than I thought, for sure. Frost, she has a really good weapon with an ACOG now, but she's just B tier. She has a shield, which is nice. She has gadgets, which can definitely force, like if you're camping a window, you force them to look down and shoot, right? So that you can maybe catch them off guard if you're watching that window, which is really nice. But it doesn't really, it doesn't really work that way in like higher ranks. They're gonna drone you out. They're gonna, destroy you. But she can definitely be useful. She's like Ella. She can be horrible at times, but then she's gonna be useful a few times, and her weapon is really good. That's why I'm just putting her in B tier. I would put her in C tier, but her weapon's really good, and she's got ACOG. Fuze. He's got a really good weapon. The AK-12 again, just like Ace. His gadget is incredibly underwhelming. He's 1 speed. I think he's usable, but he's bad. C tier. Sadly. Glaz. If you play Glaz, there's a special place in hell for you, especially if you play him in ranked. What do you do? Like, what do you do for your team as Glaz? You do nothing. You just sit outside. You just sit outside and hope. You pray. You sit. Whoever this is, whoever this one Glaz player is in the comments, um, he just every time he goes on coastline, he just goes on the little castle outside and he just snipes from outside for 2.5 minutes and he does nothing. Don't play this operator unless you know what you're doing. Goyo. He has the Vector with an ACOG now, which is nice, and his gadget can definitely be nice at denial. If you know how to play him, he can actually be A tier. I was gonna put a B tier, but if you know how to play him, if you know where to place them without griefing your team, he can be A tier. Gridlock. 1 speed, good guns, great gadget, but she's just so annoying to play, man. She's just so annoying to play. And honestly, her gadget, there's just... Usually on attack, there's more pressing roles to pick than flank watch. Like, with flank watch, you can have claymores, you have drones, especially in higher ranks. If you have claymores and drones, that's good enough. So she's kind of useless. Like, she's obsolete. But at the same time, her gadget can be very good and very annoying. I don't know. I think she's just C tier. I think she's got good guns, but I don't know. I think she's still C tier. Okay, Grim. Grim is in a tough spot because he's 3 speed. He's got really, really good guns, and he's got the Bailiff, which is incredible. Just like she's got the super shorty. But his gadget, again, flank watch, just like Gridlock. Grim is literally the same thing, but a little bit differently. And his gadget, again, just not that good. Just not that good. Even though he has better weapons than Gridlock and he's 3 speed, he's just not that good. I'm sorry, he's just not that good. Hibana, I don't want to flood the S tier, bro, but we gotta do it. Hibana S tier. 100%. Great weapons, great gadgets. She's the definition of a hatch destroyer. If you need hatches destroyed, she's the one. Ace is horrible at destroying hatches. Thermite is okay, but she does it the best. At destroying walls, she's okay, but it's mostly her weapons. Her weapon, the Type 89, it has 20 bullets, or 21 bullets, and you would think that it's bad, but honestly, the 21 bullets is usually more than enough, and it's honestly one of the greatest weapons in the game because it's so fast and it has almost no recoil. I don't know, I just love it. I love Hibana. I think she's really fun to play. Iana. She used to be so much stronger when the frags were really good. So basically, her ability is like a drone, like an extra drone of herself. Her guns are really good. Like she was made for PvP. I don't know if she's A tier or B tier. I'm thinking. I think she's B tier because I think there's just so many other operators that you can choose instead of her to help you. Like even if you would just want to play for PvP, if you just want to rush, just take Ash. Just take. You can even take Buck, Capitão. You know, just don't take Iana. She's not that good. She can be good, but there's just better choices. There's just better choices. So she's simply B tier. IQ. Great for rushing as well. Great weapons, 3 speed. Her gadget can be very good. She can be the second Buck, I would say. And her gadget usually is used very well in pro play and in high ranks. That's why I think she's overall A tier. I think that it's really hard to use her as a new player, so watch out for that. It's really hard, but once you understand everything about her, she's A tier easily. Jackal. I think that Jackal does it better than Deimos because everybody can see the ping. Jackal has really good weapons. The C70 is a really good weapon. The PDW is a great weapon as well. I think he's just B tier. He could be A tier if you're pushing it, but he's better than Deimos for sure. But I don't know. I just think again there's more pressing roles to choose than Jackal. But if Jackal isn't banned, and especially if they have a lot of roamers and you know it, Jackal is the guy you need to pick to completely just shut them down, which is it's really easy to shut them down. Jäger, he used to be my main on defense, and he used to be a S tier for so goddamn long, but now he's definitely A tier. He could also, you could argue he's B tier, but I think he's A tier because his gadget is still incredibly strong. It's so strong still, especially against like teams which use a lot of utility. And on certain sites, it's almost impossible to like plant if you place your Jägers correctly. He's 2 speed now, which is fine. He's got a good gun, but the gun has a lot of recoil. He doesn't have the ACOG, which is fine. That's why I think he's an A tier. I think he's perfect in A tier because he's got a good gadget, but you know, nothing that crazy. Kaid, he's got to be an S tier. No, he's got the AUG is pretty good, and but I definitely prefer the shotgun or the slug shotgun that he has. The TCSG, I think it's called. It's really good. He has an ACOG now on it as well. He's 1 speed, which is fine because he's an anchor. So yeah, if you're roaming with Kaid, there's something wrong with you. His gadget is really good. The fact that it can be placed in the floorboards, that it can be placed on the ceiling, it can be placed from below. It can be placed from above. For example, on chalet, when you're defending basement, there can be you can place kites like outside. On Oregon, when you're defending basement, you can place kites literally outside. So he's one of the sneakiest entry denial operators in the game, and he is so good, especially in the current meta where you just want to get those walls open as soon as possible, so that your rushers can come in, your PvP players can come in and just destroy, or you're a distraction. He can delay so much. So, yeah, easily S tier. Kali, again, if you play Kali, you go on coastline and you sit on the castle section, and you just wait there for 2.5 minutes, or you sit outside of a kitchen, or outside of, yeah. You're just not helping your team. Kali, she can be good because of her gadget, because of the lance, but there's better operators to do it. Again, on almost every site, there's better operators to do it. That's why she's F tier. And her weapon, I mean, this is a headshot game. This isn't a sniper game. This isn't CS:GO. You know, you can't use the op. You know, you gotta use SMGs. You gotta use fast shooting ARs. That's what basically is the meta. So that's why she's F tier. Kapkan is so strong. That's why he's getting banned so often. He's not S tier though. He is not S tier. He's A tier. His guns, good, maybe even great. He's 2 speed, and his gadget can cut. It can cut off so many points. It can catch so many roaming attackers off guard. Especially if like you're playing second floor and you place like 2 of your Kapkans in basement, you can be sure that like an Ash or Buck rushing from basement is gonna step in it, you know, and he's just gonna lose half his HP already. And he's so strong, and he's so annoying to deal with. That's the most annoying part about him, that he's just so goddamn annoying to play against, because you just like want to do a quick rush, and then you just lose half your HP, and now you have nothing to do unless you have Finka. That's why he's getting banned so much, because attackers that play for kills instead of for breaching walls and getting map control, they usually hate him and they want to avoid him. Same with Lesion. Lesion is the next operator. He's definitely A tier as well. He could be S tier. I'm debating, but I think he's just about A tier. He's top of A tier. He's probably top of A tier. Again, really annoying to deal with as a rusher. Really annoying to deal with if you have 30 seconds left in the round. You're in like a 1v2 or a 2v1, and one of you steps in a Lesion mine. It's so annoying to deal with it, but now that you can see his mines, it's much better. He definitely got a nerf with the fact that you can see the mines much clearly. But the damage is bigger now, so it's much more pressing to remove it. So he's really good though, and he has a good weapon. The T5 is an incredible SMG, and he has the super shorty as well, so he's definitely A tier. He could be S tier though. Yeah, you can easily say that he's the S tier, and I wouldn't even be mad. So yeah, Lion, again, there's just better operators to pick, but he can be good. C tier, I think. He could be B tier. You could argue for him being B tier, but there's better operators to pick. He has the 417 and the V308, which are both really, really good weapons. Especially I like playing the 417. But there's just better operators to pick. There's just better ones. You know, that's why he's in C tier. Maestro. Again, there's just better operators to pick. He's C tier. His weapon is really good. It's an LMG. It has a lot of recoil, but it's an LMG. You would expect it. His gadgets, I mean, they recently got buffed so that now he has 3 of them instead of 2, which is nice. And in high level play, he can be incredible. But I'm just like trying to think. The last time I saw someone pick Maestro and actually do well with him, I just don't see that. He usually gets kills with his gun, but he doesn't really use his gadget. There's just better plays. There's just better operators to pick. Yeah. There's almost no place for him in the current meta, sadly. Maverick, definitely S tier. Incredible weapon. The M4 is one of the greatest SMG. It feels like an SMG. One of the greatest ARs in the game. It feels like an SMG. That's why I said SMGs. It's really fast shooting, and yeah, it's got 30 bullets. Almost no recoil. His gadget is absolutely incredible. It can deny bandits. It can kind of deny kites as well if you know what you're doing. It can basically open up walls even though they have electricity, which is incredible. He is one of the greatest operators in the game. If you are looking for an operator to pick up, if you're starting off and you don't have any operators, you should definitely get him. Melusi, because she got the ACOG this season, I think she's actually A tier. They nerfed her gadget back in the day a lot. But I'm gonna be honest, because she has the ACOG now on her MP5, and because her gadget can be incredibly annoying to deal with. Yeah, she's easily A tier, I think. I've played her sometime this season, and I've seen players play her, and they've just absolutely destroyed with her. I mean, she has great weapons, and her gadget is so annoying. So that's why she's an A tier. Mira. Again, depends on the site. She used to be like S tier. I think now she's probably A tier because Kali and Ashe, especially Ashe, can destroy her windows from afar. So unless she has Jägers placed very smartly, sometimes she can literally just lose it instantly to Ashe. And especially because now attackers can repick their operators. If you see that they have Mira, you might as well just pick Ashe. You can also, what you can do is you can pick Buck and destroy the Mira from below, or you can pick Buck, destroy one side of the floor from below, and then Ashe can shoot her charge at the window. There's a lot of ways to counter it, and she can definitely be great on some sites with with some proper support, but yeah, she's just A tier. Monty. He has uses, and with the buff, with the shield buff, he definitely got better, but he's still C tier. He's just, he's just kind of there. I recently played 2 matches in a row where I got a Monty main. He was playing Monty every single round as attackers for 2 games straight, and I never wanted to unalive myself more than during those 2 matches. Just pick pick a different operator, please. Unless I tell you specifically to pick Montagne, you should not be picking Montagne. He just did, he was playing. He played 6 rounds as Monty, and he just didn't really do much. He didn't get. He got like 2 kills in those 6 rounds, and we didn't even really get to use him, like to make him plant or plant behind him or something. I don't know. Just situational. That's why he's C tier. Mozzie, huge nerf with the P10 Roni receiving or not receiving, losing the ACOG or the 1.5, not getting the ACOG, losing the ACOG from the TTS actually, because he did have it on the TTS. People were like, oh my god, why does why does Mozzie have an ACOG? And they removed it from him and from somebody else. I think it might have been Warden. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Warden had the ACOG on the TTS. But yeah, a huge nerf, but he's still incredible because if you get like 2 drones and you place them perfectly, it can even sometimes be better than better than Valkyrie, because attackers sometimes don't really notice it. So I think he's still got great weapons. Yeah, I think he's still A tier. Maybe B tier. You can argue, but I'm gonna put him in A tier. And there we go. A tier now has 2 rows. Wow. Mute. Wow. Mute. I think S tier. Gotta be, no? Mute. His gadget is so strong, especially on certain bomb sites, like Clubhouse, second floor, both bomb sites on Clubhouse. So strong and so hard to deal with, and so annoying. And his shotgun is the best shotgun in the game, I think, by far. Just like smokes. And yeah, I mean, he has the SMG-11, which is probably the best secondary in the game, a headshot machine. You can also use the MP5, but I would recommend using the shotgun. Yeah, just so good. Just so good. Incredible. Definitely S tier. Nøkk. Well, Nøkk received some changes, and she now has the ACOG on the FMG9, which is crazy to think about. It's crazy to think that, the FMG9, we can now play the ACOG on her. She can definitely be useful, but I'm actually debating putting her in F tier. I don't know if she's F tier or D tier. She can be useful, but it's so limited. I think if you pick her, it's just F tier. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to the one Nøkk main in the comments, but just don't play her. She's not that good. She really isn't that good. There's better operators to rush with. There's better operators to destroy cams with. There's better operators to do everything. So she's F tier. Nomad. She used to be always like S tier or A tier. I think nowadays in today's meta, she's more of like a B tier operator, but I'm not sure. She can be strong though. This is tough. This is a tough choice. I'm gonna put her in B tier. I'm gonna put her in B tier, and I'm sorry to the Nomad mains out there. I think there's better operators to do it, and I think that just because claymores exist, I think most points that you might want to cut off for the defenders can be cut off by claymores, and if they destroy the claymore by shooting or by nading it, you're gonna hear that. So nomads are great for specific bomb sites and specific situations. When you know that they run out very often, they're good. But otherwise, yeah. Oryx. Again, this is another operator that I don't think that has any. I don't think that he has any use other than like having fun with him. So a lot of these F tier operators are fun operators. They're really fun to play, but they're horrible. If you're playing them in ranked, you're throwing, and I'm sorry to tell you that. Um, yeah, good gun, but yeah, just not great. Maybe if he doesn't, if he wouldn't lose HP while making rotates, while running through walls, he would actually be like C tier, maybe, or sorry, B tier even. But the fact that he loses HP, that you need like Thunderbird or Doc to heal him back up, is really stupid. So yeah, just F tier. I'm sorry. Osa. Osa. She's gotta be either A tier or B tier. I'm gonna put her in A tier because she can be so strong and on certain bomb sites. I'm debating actually. I'm gonna leave her in A tier. You could even debate B tier, C tier for her, but I think she's so strong on certain bomb sites that she's just so dominant on certain bomb sites that she deserves the A tier. And her weapons are really good. She's got the Thermite AR and the Jackal SMG. And yeah, she's got the EMP grenades, so she can, you can take her instead of Thatcher sometimes. She's got, I think she's got smokes, if I'm not mistaken, which is also very nice. And I don't know, she's just good. She's just good, and I think she just about deserves A tier. So yeah. Pulse, he got his 1.5x removed. So now maybe it's actually better to play the shotgun on him and play from below. But I think Solus is just better at doing that in the current meta. Solus is just better. So that's why I think Pulse is just a B tier operator. He's good. He can be useful. He can be incredible on certain bomb sites. But there's just better operators to do it again. Ram. She's like an advanced sledge. She's got a good weapon. She's got a great weapon in the Ash R4C. She's incredibly annoying to play against when you're playing like first floor, sometimes basement. But I think she's just about shy of A tier. I think she's gonna be in. Actually, no, she's A tier. She's A tier. She can be very, very good. She can be very, very good. And as I said, she's incredibly annoying to play against as a defender when the ceiling just completely disappears above you. So yeah, you just gotta know how to play her right. Rook. He got his ACOG back. P90, MP9, great weapons. He's got his ability is a shield, which gives you extra HP, and it gives you the ability to pick yourself up, which is nice. But I think that he's just an operator that you pick when you don't know what to play. Like, what do I play, on defense? I don't really know, man. I've played so many operators lately, I don't even want to play them anymore. I'm just gonna take Rook, I'm just gonna take Rook and I'm gonna spawn peek or something. That's why I think he's C tier. I don't think you ever pick him to. I don't know. I don't think there's a situation where you're like, oh my god, we need to pick Rook. Like somebody please pick Rook. Nobody says that. So that's why it's easier because there's better operators to choose. Sense, might be the worst operator in the game. This is a kind of a trend that a lot of people say that he's the worst operator in the game. Because his gadget is countered by impact grenades. His gadget is countered by Warden, who's not so great now, but it's countered by Warden completely, just like smokes. But also his gadget, I don't know, just take smoke grenades instead of his gadget. Just take smokes. Take Capitão, for example, or anything else but him. And his weapon is really shitty. the weapon is really bad, the AR. So yeah, just don't play him, honestly. Sledge. I think some Sledge mains might be angry at this as well, but I think he's B tier. I think that Ram does his job better. She probably has a better weapon than him as well. And I mean, what other argument is there? I think he's good. He's reliable. He's got a hammer. He can do a lot of things with it. He's got great weapons. He doesn't have the SMG-11 sadly anymore. But he's great. But he's not A tier. I think that Ram does the job better. So I'm sorry. Smoke. Smoke is A tier. He's like a little bit over worse mute. They have the same weapons basically. They have the shotgun and the SMG-11, which is great. Again, incredible loadout. But I think that Mute's gadget is just better, and that Smoke, you have to play him really well. Like, you have to play him really, really well to get good use out of his gadget. I just wish that he could set his gadget up, just like Fenrir can set his gadget up, and then he can activate it by pressing F, for example. That would be so good, and I think it would definitely put him up to S tier. But right now he's A tier because of that. Then we have Solis, and I said Solis can do the job better than Pulse because she's S tier. She's I actually, when I got back into playing this game after like a year, I thought she was like F tier, C tier, B tier. I knew she had good weapons, right? But her gadget just seemed so bad and so useless on defense. But then I realized how much you can do with it. You can see claymores, you can see drones, you can see people when they're on their drones, you can see Jackal at all times, you can see Lion, you can see so much as Solis. And if you know how to play her, and if you know your way around the game, you're gonna absolutely destroy with her. The P90 is so strong because it's such a fast firing weapon. And again, this is a headshot meta game, so you're gonna absolutely shred with it. And then she has the SMG-11, which is the best secondary in the game. I don't know, man. She's just so good, and I didn't see it. I was blind to it, but now I see that she's S tier. She's easily S tier. So that's why she's in S tier. Great weapons, great gadget. Tachanka, sorry. Sorry to the 0 Tachanka players, but definitely F tier. He has the ACOG on the Kapkan SMG, which is nice. But there's better operators that have ACOG on their SMG. And his gadget is just incredibly underwhelming. They tried to rework him completely, like his gadget. So now his LMG is mobile instead of static, and then he has fire. He has fire Molotovs now that he can throw with his Shumika launcher. But it's just not good, and he just kind of falls in the F tier, like very simply. Nobody plays him. Like all these operators, I don't ever see in ranked, like almost ever. So yeah. Thatcher. Thatcher always used to be S tier, and I think now he's A tier. Because there's operators that can do the job, like for example, Osa, Capitão, they have EMP grenades as well. So if, for example, if there's a bandit, honestly, you might as well just pick like Capitão. Because if you have an ace, and they only have a bandit, you can do the job with Capitão's EMP grenades, for example, right? Or Dokkaebi, for example. Or even Maverick. So Thatcher now feels like an off kind of operator. Like he's obsolete, you know? He was so good at the start and he was so necessary to pick. But now he's kind of just, especially because you have the attacker repick, he gets repicked so often because you just realize that you don't really need him. you know? But he's still great. He's still great. Don't get me wrong. He's still great. I just wish that they made him a 2-speed at least, so that he's a little bit more mobile. Yeah, I don't know. I might be a 2-speed and I might just be waffling. He might be a 2-speed, but I'm pretty sure he's 1-speed. I'm pretty sure he's 1-speed. Okay, Thermite. So great weapon, 2-speed. Ace does the job better on most bomb sites. I don't know why I keep saying websites. On most bomb sites, Ace does the job better, but he is still incredibly strong. His gadget is so goddamn simple. You just have a breach charge and you breach through a reinforced wall. It's the simplest gadget in the game, but he's still somehow S tier. His gun could be a little faster firing, definitely, but I think it's really good because it has almost no recoil, and I don't know, just overall he's just a nice operator to have every single time. When you see a Thermite player like myself, it's just nice. It's just nice to have him to open up a wall, you know. So he's still an S tier. You could argue A tier for him, but I think S tier. Thorn. She used to be like A tier or B tier because she has a really good weapon and she had the 1.5 on it, but now she doesn't. She only has the holo, and her gadget is just so bad that I have to put her in C tier. Her weapon, because it's really decent, still keeps her out of F tier, but her gadget is just so bad, and there's so many other operators that do the job better. So that's why she's in C tier. Thunderbird, she's nice to have sometimes, but she has to be an F tier. Her weapon, the spear, is pretty bad for defense because every single defender in the game almost has a really fast firing SMG, and that's what you want because you're trying to play close quarter combat, right? You're trying to bait the opponents into rushing you so you can spray them down. And this weapon has such a slow rate of fire, and it doesn't even have the 1.5, which it didn't have the 1.5, which I was always surprised because she's so weak. They didn't buff her gadget ever. I don't know. She's just F tier right now. I'm sorry. Tubarão. Well, Tubarão did receive some buffs, but sorry, some nerfs. But I think he's still great, and I think he's still super annoying to play against. And his weapons, the AR-15 from Maverick, is so good on defense. And the fact that he's 2-speed, he can both anchor and he can both anchor and roam. I think he's still S tier. I think even after the nerfs and now that he freezes like teammate gadgets and such, I think he's still S tier. I think he's still S tier. Twitch. She has the F2, doesn't have the vertical grip on it anymore. She has the 417, which is really good. Her gadget is okay, but again, I feel like there's operators that do the job better. So I think because of that, she's B tier. Back in the day, she used to be so good. Now, I don't know, man. I feel like she's just obsolete as well because she's such an old operator and the game got so much more complicated than it was at the start. That's why she's now obsolete. Valkyrie. I think I have to put her in S tier. I just think that the cameras are so good. If you're red pinging from the cameras, she's probably like B tier. But yeah, just make sure you yellow ping out of the cameras, not red ping. Because if you red ping, they're going to see the camera instantly. And yeah, you're not going to get any value out of it. You're not going to get any info value out of it. But her gadget is so good, you can place it almost anywhere. Sadly, you cannot place it outside anymore, but that was just way too OP, honestly. Yeah. She has the MPX, which is a really good SMG. The Deagle, which is nice for making holes. She has impact. She has C4s. She has C4, which is the best utility in the game. C4 is really nice to have. And yeah, honestly, she's just S tier overall. Vigil. Now this might be a hot take because I'm kind of a I wouldn't call myself a Vigil main, but I play Vigil from time to time. I think he's A tier. Don't get me wrong, his gadget is absolutely useless. Most of the times, it's absolutely useless. He's good for destroying drones with the gadget, right? But Solus does the job better. But he's a 3-speed operator, and he has two of the greatest weapons on defense in my opinion. His AR is really, really good, or I don't know if it's an SMG or whatever you would call it. I think it's an AR. The K1A, it's really, really good, and the SMG-12 is really, really good as well. He's one of the greatest roamers in the game. That's why I like him so much, and I understand that some people would put him in B tier or C tier, maybe even, but I think he's A tier just because of that. And also, he has access to the Boss G, which is really nice, and he has an ACOG on it, which is nice. Wamai. This might be controversial, but I think he's S tier. I think Wamai is S tier. I think he deserves to be up there with all those operators because he got the ACOG now. He's got the ACOG on his MP5K, which is a really decent weapon. He's got the ACOG. His gadget is really good. He's the new Jäger, right, of defense. And yeah, if Jäger is an A tier, which I think he deserves to be, Wamai is an S tier. He's just clear of him. He's got a better weapon now, I think. He's got an ACOG on it. Jäger doesn't. Jäger's gadget is limited. Wamai's isn't. And he's got the Keratos, which is a really, really good pistol. He's got impact grenades. Jäger doesn't have impact grenades. Wamai is just clear of Jäger, and I think he's just solid S tier now this season. Warden used to be like A tier or B tier because he had the 1.5. Now he's back to his original C tier, just like Thorn. Just like Thorn, he used to be good with his 1.5 on a really good weapon. Now he doesn't have it, and he's suffering from it, and he is back to being just absolute horrible utility. He doesn't have any utility. He's great against Ying, he's great against smokes, but if they don't throw smokes or flashes, you're just never going to get any value out of him. And his weapons are good, the MPX and the SMG-12, which is incredible to have, but his gadget is just so mid now, it's just so mid. There's better operators, and if they see that you have Warden, nobody's going to pick Ying, which is the next operator to rate, by the way. Nobody's going to pick Ying if they see that you have Warden. So, yeah. Because they can repick. Yeah. Ying. Ooh, I don't know if she's A tier or B tier. She's actually A tier, because the LMG's got a buff, so they're incredible now. Honestly, her SMG was great even before the buff. So yeah, she's incredible. She's got incredible weapons, or at least her primary. Her gadget is really good. She has the best flashes in the game, 100%. Her gadget is so much better than flashes because it lasts longer. It creates much more flashes. Like, it flashes a bigger part of the room. It can roll around on the ground. You can place it through a floor. You can place it through a wall. You can place your gadget on a wall, and then it will flash the other side of the wall, which is really good. Some of you might have not known that. And she has smokes as well, which is really good. She's incredible utility. She has so much utility, and that's why I think she's A tier. Yeah, I think that she's great. Zero. Now, again, this might be controversial. I think he's A tier. I think some of you might put him B tier, but I think he's A tier. I play him a lot. He has really good weapons. I usually play him. I know this is shameless. I don't care. I play him to rush with. I play because he has the Gon 6. The Gon 6 is one of the greatest secondaries in the game. You don't have a pistol, but you have an explosive gadget which can destroy a barricade within a millisecond, so that you don't have to shoot it or you don't have to melee it. That's why he's so good for rushing. He's 3 speed. He has probably the best AR in the game, the SC3000, probably the best assault rifle in the game. He has the MP7, one of the best SMGs in the game. He has ACOG on both of them, and his gadget is actually insane. His gadget is like Valkyrie, but on attack. You can just place it somewhere, and like flank watch, and your dead teammates can watch the cameras and give you callouts. It's so good. His gadget is so good, and he's so good for rushing because he's 3 speed. He has incredible weapons, and he has the Gon 6. So he's like the Ash of this, of this season, of the previous seasons as well. He's like the Ash from back in the day, So he's really, really good. He's really, really good. I really like him, and I think he's even close to S tier, to be honest. Just because his gadget is actually so good. And the last operator on the list is Zofia. I used to be a Zofia main. When Ashe got nerfed, I used to be a Zofia main. She was 2 speed. Her weapon was incredible. It had little recoil, and she has 2 Ashe charges basically, and then she has 2 concussion charges, right? Which is great. The gadget is great. But now she's 1 speed. That's the problem. She's 1 speed, which makes her just annoying to play. Um, you used to be able to like rush with her alone, and you used to be able to be self-sufficient. Now because she's 1 speed, she's so loud and she's so heavy and she's so slow that it's so hard to play off of your own plays. Like if you back in the day, you used to be able to concuss a room and then rush in it with your weapon and destroy everyone. But now you have to be more of a utility player. You have to play for your players, for your teammates. So you have to flash the room, you have to destroy stuff, and your players are gonna play off of that, your teammates. So that's why I think because she's much less self-sufficient than she was before, and her weapon got huge nerfs. Like her recoil right now is so huge. I think she's a perfect B tier. And that was the last operator. So let's look at it again. Let's see if maybe I want to make some adjustments. If I got something wrong. I think that everything is. I think that everything is nice. I think that you could argue for Thunderbird in the C tier. Potentially, you could argue that Thunderbird is C tier because her gadget is okay. But I think this is. I think this is how I would view it. Again, as I said at the beginning of the video, this is just my opinion. If you believe that some operator is better, stronger, or worse, weaker, you can let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like and subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. See ya.